Well, early support has enabled us to be able to give the right support to our youngsters as they come through. It's enabled us not to duplicate, to be very cost effective, and also to be very focused on individual pupils and their needs. A school like Penhall has got a lot of youngsters with lots of different special needs, and we don't want a wide brush stroke. We want a focused intervention, and early support has enabled us to do this, and enabled us to work with our colleagues in other disciplines, and enabled us to work very successfully with a wide range of youngsters with a wide range of disabilities and needs.
The most valuable thing about the early support model is about the child, knowing the uniqueness of the child that's coming to join your school in their setting, and the uniqueness and the features that make that family work around that child. That's a conversation that gets lost prior to the early intervention model, not because you weren't having it, but you weren't having that holistic picture from everybody that really gives you a clear message about this young person is valued because, and this is the hopes and aspirations of those mums and dads, and what they want when they come to school, and also the fears that they have that you need to address. It is different when you come to school, and it's very hard for parents to suddenly experience school and feel comfortable when they've had lots of people coming in and out of their home. So the whole journey is quite a big jump. I think what we've seen is the success of that transition for young people into school. Lots of the little ones, because we're involved much earlier, we go and do the little courtesy visits, and the seeds are dropped much earlier about what school might offer, how it might work differently. But there isn't sort of like an overnight change. There's a very gradual introduction. Then the children are starting to visit us, the parents are starting to make relationships. We might be invited to meetings elsewhere. Then the meetings perhaps start to take place here. But it's how that family are introduced to the school so that they feel appreciated, not fitted into a school, but the school fits around their needs.
Penhall's a pilot school for MAPIT, and we're looking at, again, starting from the strengths of the school and what we've got, then we're looking at the weaknesses and what we can develop, and then mapping it to what the services around Wolverhampton can give us, and working with those services to enable us again to give a very cost effective and also a very focused service to these young people, because we very often aren't talking about the young people individually, we're talking about whole families as well. And again, if we can give a good service to that young person, it's the whole family that does benefit, and parents especially often want extra and quite bespoke, I've got quite bespoke special needs that they need to be catering for, and really it enables us to be proactive in developing the services that are coming along to us. For example, at school we've had a trend in the last 4 years of youngsters coming to us with communication difficulties. In our early years now, out of 14 youngsters in our early years, only 4 of them can communicate through speech. And so we've been able to work with our hearing impaired and visually impaired services, and also our communication services, to put a package together that is already here for when the youngsters come, because of our good relationships with other agencies and early years services that enable us to target youngsters as they come through to us.
We're trying to look at a couple of principles of the MAPIT model. What we think is we have lots of tiers of good professional working in school. What we think the tool is going to help us do is audit, is that being effective with the stakeholders, i.e. parents, governors, the outside agencies that need to work with us. You always feel in your school that you're doing lots of things, but trying to measure the impact of that can sometimes get lost in the day-to-day job. So we think it'll be a good tool for us to step back, look at the layers of multi-agency we work in that are very public with families. We've got some that are very behind the scenes with families, like social work and action groups. We've got a multidisciplinary team meeting where we share information that we need to think, you know, this will, if you know this information, it will enhance what you're doing with the family. So we have that sort of behind the scenes input. But we think that the tool will help us clarify how much of an impact it's actually having on families. So yesterday we took it to our parent group, our friends at Green Park, and said, which of you at this group, or all of you, would you like to be involved in taking part in giving us feedback? So that we're really trying to find out, well, what does it look for little Jimmy down in class 1 to what does it feel like for a pupil that's perhaps up in year 6 now, you know, and have gone through some of those experiences, perhaps haven't quite got such an active team around the child model, but still has a huge layer of multi-agency support.
The main message, I believe, is we do need to work together. We don't need to work independently and in silos. We need to have a plan that moves forward, and MAPIT is part of that plan. And we need to be able to look at the resources of the whole of the authority, not just for individual services, and see how best we can provide for our needy youngsters who are coming through and our hard to reach families. And Wolverhampton has been very successful in doing that, and that has spread, well, I would say across the country. In the last 3 months I have met in school 3 parents who have moved into Wolverhampton because of its recognition across the country of being an authority who does exactly that, who looks at the individual, who looks at the scant resources and puts them together in the best way to enable the youngster to make the progress that he or she should. Because if we spend some money early on and certainly put the basics, either correct the basics or put the basics right, then it means that further on down the learning journey of our young people, we haven't got to spend more money on doing things that should have been done at the start of the journey. And so we feel it's a very important message to give out, to say that it is cost effective, it does enable budgets to be distributed evenly and also fairly, and it also means that we have some fantastic results at the end of it for both our youngsters and our families. I believe that the people at the chalk face in all the services have got the youngsters at heart, and the youngster is at the centre, and that can slightly get dissipated as we go up the management structure. Really, it needs the managers to come together to say how can we best work together, and certainly in these days of financial constraint we need to make sure that we use our knowledge and certainly our skills and our facilities in the most cost-effective way, because we realise that money is going to be tight certainly in the next few years, and we need to be able to give the same, if not a better service with less funding.